go. Going live.
Looks good.
Okay. Sheila, I gave you the batteries, right?
Yes, you did,
Okay.
you gave me
Because I did buy them.
quite a
I thought I gave them to you, but I just want to make sure.
Very
She, did she take that or you? Who puts it in the record?
Sheila would, I suppose.
Okay. Was named Candace? Oh, here she comes.
She is.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 7th, 2021 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. And so we'd like to start with a call to order, if we could, please.
Candace Bouchard.
Todd Arshalashi.
Melissa Bird.
Josh Kelly.
Candy Perez.
Sheila Sedlak.
Jack Bork.
Steven Sedlak.
Linda Grappo.
This is our first meeting, full meeting in person. We're back to how we used to be. It's over, how many months? 19 months ago, something like that. But anyway, so may we join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first item up is agenda review. Is there anything anyone had? Next, approval of our regular minutes of May 17th. May I have a motion to approve? So moved. Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Todd. Anybody see any additions, corrections, anything for Sheila? Seeing none, all in favor? And I'll abstain as I was absent that meeting. Next up, number 5 is citizens' comments. Okay, there's another one at the end of the meeting for people. Number 6 is town manager's report. Josh?
Thank you, Candy. So I know that members of the Board of Selectmen have received several communications from me since we last met. I'll go through and discuss some highlights since this group last convened. First and foremost, I would like to highlight, and this is good for the general public to know, and also good to remind all the selectmen, we will be holding on July 8th a Freedom of Information Act training at 5:00 p.m. here in this room. I recommend that anybody and everybody who's involved with public meetings come out to attend. For those who absolutely can't make it, there will be a recorded version of that event that I'll make available to everybody. But that is something that we're working on to make sure that we stay up to date and sharp on all of our FOI information. Beyond that, we are moving forward with a number of different initiatives within Town Hall. Technology and software continues to be something that we discuss ad nauseum. As we discussed at our last meeting, we are currently looking into and evaluating our collection software. We have at this time decided that the assessing software that we currently have is not adequate for the task ahead of us with revaluation, as well as building the grand list for this coming year. So with Bruce Stratford, our Director of Finance, myself, and a number of others who have been part of those conversations, we are moving forward with switching our assessing software in the coming months. And that conversation's already begun with the firm that we've decided to go with. Town Hall's reopened, as you can all see and as you're all experiencing. It's been a very positive experience so far. We've had, I think, mostly good comments on the fact that people feel engaged again with Town Hall and with people working here. And it seems, I don't know if Sheila has anything to add, but it seems as though people have been very respectful about space and masking when it was required.
Masks they're wearing, they're spacing, they're polite.
Absolutely.
No problem so far.
So we're hoping that it stays that way. Today was the first day that we're not requiring people to wear masks if they're so vaccinated. Beyond that, we are moving forward. I had the opportunity to speak with the Civil Service Commission for the first time and attend one of their meetings. And at that meeting, we were able to accomplish quite a bit. So we will be moving forward with, we're reopening the hiring process for the budget analyst and grants manager position. And we are going to have the opportunity now to go out and hire somebody for the blight / inland wetlands / zoning enforcement officer position. So that's all a number of items that I've been working on. I have continued my work with trying to meet members of the community, members of the staff in a one-on-one basis, and to try and learn all that I can about Winchester's history, the happenings, the various reasons why people decided to come and work for this town in the first place. And all of that's been going very positively. I have been slowing down those meetings in an attempt to try and catch up with some of the other work, of course, that's been happening, but I will continue to do so until I've had the opportunity to have a sit-down one-on-one with every member of the town staff, part-time and full-time alike. In addition to that, the EDC has been fairly active. We had an opportunity to sit down on Thursday, this would be May 20th, yes, with various manufacturers from around the community, or various manufacturers within town, and that was a very positive conversation about how the town can be working with members of that industry to try and make sure that we're driving a workforce to come here, to live here in town, but also, of course, to work in manufacturing, how we might be able to be partners in some of that. And from there, you can certainly read more about each of these items within my report, but I will let that stand as my report for now. Are there any questions that I can answer for you?
I have a bunch.
Of course, please.
Maybe because I missed the meeting, so I gotta catch up. One of the things is, I know that you're reopening the position in finance, but as I had mentioned, I remain concerned about the delay in this position, and getting it hired, especially because of the grants and the amount of grants that are flowing around all of us. I think it would be good to have that person here, and I know that Bruce had mentioned there was a big need, meetings ago for this person, so I am concerned about the delay on this. So just so you know that, EDC, in your email to us, you talked about they're gonna create a marketing and a logo and all that. There's been a discussion about that, and I did see in your report that you talked about, like, what would the marketing be for, and I think that's one of the reasons why, we need to look at, what the goals are, where we want, even as a board, because one of the things I don't want to have happen is this board to be back on this side of things while everything's moving along over there, because I think we need the economic development strategy. What is it, where are we going, what are we marketing to, what are we marketing for, as we develop it, and I know that you got some help with that, so that'll be good. Then the other thing is, I don't know when we want to do this, but in your communication today, you talked about the park and signs and a little free little library thing and whatnot. And so I've been having some concerns with the park and the use of the park, but in particular signs. We have been fortunate, and it goes way back. This isn't something new, but this goes back 5, I want to go maybe 4. So it's probably going to go back like at least 8 years that the town manager has control over signs in East End Park. Because we didn't want the park to become, just littered all the time with different people's signs and stuff. So the town manager is basically, unless it's something from the church down on the corner or something that's a town event, there's usually not signs out there. But I've been noticing more signs. I noticed them in the areas that we've paid, money to spruce up on the corner across from Dairy Queen. And I think, I don't know if it's something we as a board want to, discuss at any point with Josh about, our expectations, of East End Park and what we want down there. Because I don't, sometimes we see open house signs, and then they don't come down, or somebody puts up, other signs and then they don't come down. And so it could just be me, and so that's why I bring it up, because if we all want to continue that practice of no signs and whatnot, we should make sure that, Josh has our backing to be able to do that. So I figured I'd bring them up during your report on that.
Absolutely.
That was all connected.
And of course, I should, I know that this was included in my written communication the past few weeks, but to make sure that the public at large has an understanding of where we stand on the various advisory committees that were created at the last meeting. The 508 Main Street, the advisory committee that was created to review the possible uses for the building at 508 Main Street that the town owns, that was taken over the course of blight hearings. We have a team that's able to be assembled. We are waiting to, I've been waiting until I've had an opportunity to meet with the other advisory committee to schedule a meeting for that group. But I do now have confirmation as of Friday that we have everybody on board who has been invited to be a part of this group and who has volunteered to be part of this group. And as for the American Rescue Plan Advisory Group, we have a meeting of that group at 4:30 p.m. This Thursday. And it's going to be here, Town Hall, I believe in this room, but more confirmation on the exact room to be shared with all of you. And of course, as selectmen, as we discussed last time, you're all invited and very much encouraged to attend, give your thoughts and feedback. And we do have two selectmen who have been assigned as liaisons at this point to come on down and be more direct conduits from the board into this group.
Anybody else have any questions for John?
I just have a question, going back to your software. Do we have contingency plans for ransomware attacks in town? And if not, should we consider making them? You know, the gas pipeline a couple weeks ago was attacked. A lot of hospitals have been attacked, and I've heard that the smaller groups are generally increased targets for ransomware attacks because they don't necessarily have the security protocols in place for ransomware attacks. But do we have anything?
I can't tell you that I'm not fully appraised of the insurance policies that we may or may not have on for such ransomware attacks, nor am I fully appraised on the various technological improvements that we might have in our system that might help fend off various ransomware attacks. I did send out as an example to all town staff just last week an example of a phishing scam to help keep people on their toes, make people aware that this is happening on a regular basis. Somebody in our land use office had received that very message, so I wanted to forward it along. But I will get more information on that for you.
Thank you.
Bruce might know, did we, because we put it in the budget, did we buy the cyberware insurance yet?
So it's probably appropriate for me to say we've taken measures which I deem to be prudent in both the structure of our firewall and monitoring of that and the backup of all of our data, which happens every night.
Okay.
And we've also invested in some insurance.
Okay.
Good.
Because there was an email came out today from Region 5, the emergency, group that works, talking about what Todd just talked about. Anything else? Is there anything under number 7, correspondence? Anyone like to highlight? If not, boards and commissions, Steve?
Okay, thank you, Candy. Got quite a few things to consider this evening regarding nominations and appointments. You have in your packet the form that we use for identifying nominations, appointments, etc. And I have some additional information that I don't believe has been in everyone's packet. But let's start with introducing Michael Farrell as a possible candidate for the Water and Sewer Commission. And if that appointment occurs, he will be replacing Tim Moran. He's unaffiliated, we're looking for a permanent placement, and the term would be June of 2025. So we will go forward vetting Michael Farrell as a member of the Water and Sewer Commission. And I believe all of you got a letter of interest from him.
He was on the Avon, wasn't he on Avon and the Sewer Commission, was it?
Yes, yeah. Okay, so that's,
Steve, I would encourage you in the process of having Michael attend some of the water and sewer commissions even before he becomes a member.
Yeah, it
Maybe
already
we ought
happened.
to just contact him and say,
That's already occurred. That's already occurred. Actually, the chairman of the Water and Sewer sent me his application, and both he and I interviewed him. So he has spoken, and he also has moved all of his vehicles from Torrington to our tax area. So, yeah, he has been vetted already.
and so he, I mean, there's a spot open on that. Could we move that quicker since you've already vetted him?
It's possible if we as a board want to do it. The chairman and I have both spoken to him. He meets all of our criteria. He has an excellent background from Avon.
When's your next meeting?
Tomorrow.
well, what, you know, the least we can do, our three-step process.
We could at least,
We're easily on step number 2 if you've done all of that.
Right.
of that vetting.
The only reason I would suggest moving it ahead is because they're down a person.
Right.
And having another person right there now with some of the decisions that are being made, it might be advantageous to have him already appointed.
But do you think that he would be able to attend tomorrow on short notice?
well, he has to get sworn in first.
Right.
Yeah, and then he's aware that we have, you know, he would be nominated today and potentially approved by the board on the 21st. But if we want to expedite it, that's no problem. It's up to him to be able to get into town hall to be sworn in and,
But-
Yeah, because they only meet once a month, right?
correct.
Well, the reason I was asking when he'd be available is because we would like to honor the system that we have when and where possible.
Right.
And if tomorrow, like if the meeting was next week, then he'd have plenty of time to come, but should we,
Tomorrow at 7, so it's
so should
really
we?
short notice.
Should we move our process in the hopes that he gets there or not? I mean, we all know he's gonna be a good candidate, so.
Yeah, no, I'd like to honor the process as well, and certainly he can be placed in nomination tonight, and I think acted upon 2 weeks from now.
Because they have a quorum usually, right?
Yeah, and I also encouraged him to attend tomorrow's meeting anyway,
Yeah,
but he's not expecting to be appointed yet.
I think that's a good encouragement to get him there.
Yeah.
All right, so that changes our strategy a little bit. I would now place in nomination for that position the name of Michael Farrell as a member of the Water and Sewer Commission.
I'll second
Don't need seconds.
All right, and we will vote on that on our next meeting in 2 weeks. Moving further down the list, ready for appointments this evening, the name of Alan Calavecchio as a member of the Economic Development Commission.
I'll
Yeah.
second.
Thank you. And you see the other information there, term to expire on May of 2026.
Should wait.
All right, so does anybody have any questions? I think we all know Alan. Okay, all in favor? Okay, Alan, you're on.
Okay, and in the same position, in the same category, a move to appoint Ronald Dew as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, a permanent position, term to expire in December of 2021. That would be my motion.
it. I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor? Okay, congratulations, Ron.
Also, I think you've seen in your package a letter from David Sarana requesting a move from permanent to an alternate position on Economic Development Commission. And that term would still be in line to expire in June of 2026. So I would make that motion.
Second?
Any questions? All in favor? There you go, Dave.
Okay, there are other irons in the fire here. An appointment to the Economic Development Commission, which really lies with the town manager, and it gets acknowledged by the Board of Selectmen. And we have a candidate here that I know you've talked with, Josh.
Yes, yes, that's true.
And her name is Jill Forey, and she's given us a letter of interest. And at some point, when you're ready to appoint her, make that official, we will acknowledge that.
Absolutely. You'll have it at the next meeting.
Okay, very good. And we've done this one. I have a letter of interest, and so I'm putting forth this name. Her name is Kathy Lacasse, and she is interested in either the Economic Development Commission or the Recreation Board. And again, if we'll have to talk to her and see where her real interest lies. Recreation Board is our appointment. Economic Development Commission, again, lies with the town manager. So we've got some vetting to do for Kathy Lacasse. And I have a letter of interest here from Mark, M-A-R-C, Gizzie, Gizzie, who lives on Williams Avenue, and he's interested in being considered for the Energy Commission. So we will start the process of vetting him. And I thought there was one more there. And finally, down at the bottom of my list here, we want to acknowledge a resignation from the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that would be Jerry Martinez has notified us that he's stepping down from Planning and Zoning. So that's an important board. I'm not sure. I've written to him asking exactly when he will be done, and I'm still waiting for a response. But that's, one of our critical boards and commissions, so we need to move forward there as quickly as we can.
And just as an add-on, that particular position that Jerry's in now expires on October of 2024. So there's still quite a few years left in that. So it's a replacement position, but it's also a very important one because the Planning and Zoning Commission, Linda, you've been going to those?
No, I have not.
I know they've had some shortage of people who've been able to attend, so we really should look for somebody as quickly as possible for that
It's gonna be an
land use
alternate.
board.
He'll probably be an alternate, because John Clooney will move up. He's interested in moving up, so it would be an alternate.
Willie, are you on that, planning and zoning? So how many active do you have going to that?
We have 2 active alternates, and we have another alternate who's supposed to be coming on. So there should be 3 alternates, and then just a full board.
So with Jerry leaving, nobody else is leaving, that's still just one position open there?
Yes.
Okay.
And finally, I've been in contact with a person who is interested in being on a board or a commission, but she has no idea. And I talked with her a little bit about her background, and so I'm sending her some other information, having her look at minutes from commission and board meetings to try to get a feel for what's required of all of the boards. And as soon as I get information back from her, I will be placing her name forward in our next meeting. That's it for now.
Anybody else, boards or commissions?
Just a comment, I thought I saw in your newsletter, Josh, how when you put out some information about seeking new volunteers, and we've gotten it out there now more times in the last 2-3 weeks, that some of this is developing because of that and this interest. So the more that you keep that information, that people know what positions are open and we're looking for volunteers. Keep that up.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the refunds as recommended by the Collector of Revenue. So can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Any questions? A second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions on that? All in favor? Okay. So to expedite the next ones, I noticed there are 7 of them, 7 budget transfers that are being requested. So Candace, we'll start with the first one for you. You can make the motion, and then we're gonna come right down the table. So you got the first one.
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the line item transfer of $6,700 from Public Works to Street Department Labor, 311-194-0000 to Town Hall Maintenance of Structure, 127-827-0000 in the amount of $6,700.
Have a second for that?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? Okay, Todd, you're next.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the line item transfer of $800 from Building Department, Training and Education, 213-811-0000 to Building Department, Vehicle Maintenance, account 213-821-0000 in the amount of $800.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Melissa, you're next.
Okay. I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the line item transfer of $800 from Soldiers Monument, Office Supplies, 129-806-0000, $450 from Soldiers Monument, Electricity, 129-822-0001, and $1,450 from Soldiers Monument, Events and Fundraising, to Soldiers Monument, Maintenance of Structures in the amount of $2,700.
Thank you for the second. All in favor? Before we move on with that, is it possible to get a Soldiers Monument, either Jack or Bruce, the accounting of what's in these accounts that we have? Because I remember when we were making money in the capital account, and we were discussing that, we were trying to figure out how much money you had in the account. And Jack, if you could get that for us.
There was a page in addition to what you received as the fund transfer that I filled out, saying how much is in each account left. Is that what you're looking for? Did you
Yeah.
get that page?
Well, not the one in the account, but how much money is there overall? How much money do we have as a town put in as capital? How much have we have put in there for, with these fund transfers and for, in terms of the structures?
Yeah, Bruce and I have that. When we were last together, Bruce, we did that page. So we know how much there is there.
I know, could we know?
I can include it in next report, or next meeting if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great,
Thank
thanks.
you.
All right, my turn. I make a motion that we move some money from the town manager line, annual report and budget of $200, line 111-38540, and money from fringe benefits of medical of $800, line 111-900-0002, to the town manager line, office supplies in the amount of $1,000, 111-80640. Thank you, Linda, for the second. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. You're up.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the line item transfer of $5,000 from Senior Citizen, Labor, Skill, and Professional, 813-8140, $5,000 from Senior Citizen Secretarial Support Staff, 813-19340, and $4,000 from Senior Citizen Overtime, 813-197-0000, to Senior Center Maintenance of Structure, the account 813-827-0000, in the amount of $12,000, and to Senior Center Health Aging Programs in the amount of $2,000.
I'll second that.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
So what are we, the $12,000 maintenance of structures going towards?
There's a.
Why wasn't that in the capital improvement plan?
It was. Can you see it, Bruce?
Is this money that's from the labor and secretarial, is that a result of people not working this past year?
Yes. Yes, that's, the source of these funds
Oh,
is
the
the,
generator, I see. Yep.
is the, comes from the fact that the senior center was basically shut down for most of the pandemic, so there were some employee time was greatly reduced, so that's why there's some surpluses there. The primary reason for the transfer is the generator transfer switch needs to be replaced, and that's about a $9,000 expenditure. So that was unanticipated, and this allows them to do that, as well as provides some additional money to take care of the hedge that they were going to put along the south property line to distinguish the parking lot from the neighbor's lot.
Thank you.
So we didn't vote yet, right?
Nope.
All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, is there another budget transfer?
Yes.
One
There
more? It's just a little out of
You just
order.
have to skip down past the engagement of town auditor information, which is several pages long.
All right, so I'll hold that one, so Steve, you're on hold. So we'll do the next item, which is letter of engagement of town auditor. Josh?
Well, and Bruce, I don't know if you want to speak to this more directly, given the fact that you've had the chance to engage with them often, but my understanding is that we have had auditing services from King and Associates over the past several years, that it's always been very positive, and that the fee going into the next year is actually slightly reduced.
Slightly reduced, that's right.
Take it from there.
Actually, it's the second year of the fee reduction from King and Associates, but we're recommending that that you appoint our existing auditor for one additional year.
Can I ask a question? I read through most of that, and what I was looking for is a statement in there that King rotates the people that they bring into the building. Is that in there as far as you know?
I thought that they had put that in there, but I checked with them every year, and they are doing that, especially with their newer staff. We do have, Chris King is the audit partner, and he remains the audit partner, and the manager, Sean, also remains in place, and they direct the work, but the people that we see here in the building and who are examining the transaction documents are always being rotated.
I know that happens, but I guess I would just be more comfortable if it was stated in there. And if it's not already before you sign it, could you have it stated?
I will.
That just goes back to, way back when.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions?
Bruce, are you recommending this year and next year, and then after 10 years, a change in the auditing firm?
So we generally initially we did a 3-year appointment for the auditors after, that was happened, I think, in the 2012 fiscal year. Then there was an additional 3-year appointment. We have been doing annual appointments since then because we haven't determined to go out for a request for proposal from other audit firms. We haven't deemed that necessary at this point. This audit firm is located in town. Everyone else would be, from distant towns. So there's an advantage there. And I think that's something to consider, whether or not we, request for proposal. Perhaps when get a little bit more time to consider that, we can make that
Fair enough.
decision. But I'm personally very satisfied. I think we get a good value from this audit firm. They do a thorough job.
I would agree with you. So can I have a motion to appoint?
So moved.
Thank you. There's that. Thank you, Jack, for the second. Any other questions? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. And you'll get that, make sure that thing's in there.
Yes, I will.
Just to cover us, that's all. All right, the next one is another transfer, line transfer, and that's your turn, Steve.
Okay, this is the Police Department. I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the line item transfer of $2,000 from Police Department Emergency Response Team 210-811-0003 to Police Department Armor and Range number 211-811-0000 in the amount of $2,000.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on that? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Which brings us to I, which is setting the mill rate for 21 to 22. Josh?
So as you all know now, and Bruce, please feel free to share any more information that I might miss, but the referendum this past weekend, well, sorry, I should say 2 weekends ago now, passed very successfully by a very wide margin, and as a result, we have a budget for fiscal year 2022 that will require a flat mill rate from this year to the coming fiscal year of 33.54 mils. So it's our recommendation that tonight the Board of Selectmen act to set the mill rate at 33.54 mils.
May I have a motion for that, please?
It's Linda's turn.
Oh, Linda's turn? Okay, Linda. yeah.
I'll make that motion, okay. I move that the Board of Selectmen set the tax rate for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2021 at 33.54 based upon the grand list of October 1, 2020.
Second.
Oh, good. We'll give it to Steve. He hasn't gotten his name in light. Yeah, you don't have your name in light just yet. So. All right, any other questions for anybody? This is the 5th year in a row with the 33.54. So all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Candy, I'm going to pass this down so each selectman
I thought we
can
already
sign.
Don't worry
signed
about it.
paper.
Oh, did you get this?
Yes, and this is for you.
I didn't see that.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're on top of it. There we go. So item 10 is citizens' comments. Just an FYI, the phone is not out here tonight, so we can't take anything by phone. We apologize for that. Mark is away. But anybody out here? Good? Todd, were you? Oh, you're the next one.
Next one.
All right. Okay, no one? Okay, so we're moving on to selectmen's comments and reports, and Todd, go ahead.
So over the last several meetings, the board has discussed our future with recycling and waste management and things that we need to look towards the future to conduct. So I brought some recycling props here.
So this is your quiz.
Yes. One of the issues with recycling is it's more difficult the more you think about it. Right now, between 2% and 5% contamination by a trash hauler with recyclables is a violation. Above 5% means the entire load is rejected, and that entire load of recycling becomes trash. What are some of the things that make a load a rejection or contaminates a load? Junk mail, you can recycle junk mail. But if it's personal, credit card bills, things like that nature, you'd want to shred that. Shredded paper is not recyclable. Plastic bottles, recyclable, right?
And now redeemable.
And now redeemable. But this plastic bottle would be considered contamination because there's liquid inside.
I hope you don't pull out the raccoon.
There was a raccoon on the side of the road, but wrapping paper, it's paper, right? Nope, not recyclable. Everybody's favorite shopping bags, not recyclable because it jams the machines that do the recycling. Now the problem with this is you take your recyclables that are good, you put them in the bag, they become contamination. That could be rejected. Somebody can open all the bags and dump all the recyclables out, but that's often not the case.
You should do a video.
Oh, wait, I get my phone.
Hangers, recyclable, not recyclable.
This side recyclable, that side no.
The wire's recyclable with the wire.
Yes, but not with single stream recycling, because this, once again, will jam the machines.
You have to be at the dump specifically.
Best thing to do for hangers, donate them to somebody that takes, you know, Goodwill or
Thrift stores.
thrift stores.
What's our grade so far?
Batteries,
Not recyclable.
no, because these batteries can cause fires in trash and recycling. If you take batteries to RRDD1, there is a specific bin you can dump all your batteries in, but not in the trash, not in the corrugated cardboard, recyclable.
Yes.
In the recycle bin for cardboard, but not boxboard, but
Technically, if you mixed it with single stream, it would still be okay. But it is a separate form of recycling. It's called OCC cardboard.
Pedigree.
Doggy food. Everybody's favorite. Recyclable, not recyclable. As long as it's clean, it's recyclable. If it's got grease and food waste, it's trash. Now the other complicated things, motor oil. You have to recycle motor oil, but it's a hazardous waste, so it does not go in single stream. So these you take to either equipment dealers and they have oil trade-ins, or there's a bin at RRDD1 if you're a member down there. Plastic containers that have chemicals in them, oil, pretty much any type of fluid for a motor vehicle or a lawnmower, these would go in the trash, as long as they're empty. If they got stuff in it, don't do that. Paint is also recyclable. Well, I'm gonna leave my jug of paint down here. It's a hazardous waste. Your best bet to get rid of paints are to take them to a paint store, or every year there's a certain day that they collect paint around the state. Last thing, kind of along the line of the store bags, garbage bags are also a contaminant. So anything that's in a garbage bag, all that stuff could be rejected as well. Those are about all my little props here for the recycling, but the big things are shredded paper, would contaminate a load, wrapping paper, bottles with fluids in it, food waste.
And cans uncleaned.
Cans that aren't clean, everything must be cleaned. And other thing, clothes aren't recyclable in recycling. You know, clothes can go to Goodwill, thrift stores, or throw them in the trash.
what about the aerosol cans?
Trash, as long as they're empty. When they have propellants in them still, they can blow up when the trash is taken to the incinerator, and you don't want that. Also, when 70,000-pound garbage trucks run over an aerosol can, it makes kind of a loud explosion if there's stuff in there. Trash is something you don't want to catch on fire where it's not supposed to be on fire. Last thing, we see a lot, personal products go in the trash. Hygiene products go in the trash, Band-Aids, diapers, adult diapers, things like that. That's stuff that should never be in recycling. Grass clippings, brush clippings, those don't go in recycling. Wood, I've seen trees cut up and put in recycling. Because, hey, wood is just unrecycled paper, right? No. Wood does not go in recycling either.
Can I ask you about shredded paper? Like, is it just shredded paper that goes through a machine, or if we tear it up?
Only if it's shredded through a machine. It
They
gets,
won't.
if you can't use that.
You can't send that.
Ripping, okay.
Ripping, okay.
It's the thinness of it that jams up, right?
The thinness of it and the mess that it makes when it blows all around when the wind catches it.
Okay.
The other thing too is construction paper. If you tear it and you see a white center, it's recyclable. But if it's colored all the way through, it's not recyclable.
Why?
It's the dyes in it.
Oh, wow.
And small pieces of paper, like 4 inches or so receipts, not recyclable. That's trash. Okay, we've been here long enough, we can,
But Todd, I'd like to
Yes.
bring a couple points here. Number one, we in this town have only, we don't collect it as a town, but it's privately collected or people bring it individually to the Regional Refuse District.
correct.
So if the private collectors are messing things up, don't they have an obligation to go back to the customer and take care of that with the contaminations with the customer? When I go to the Regional Refuse District myself, I know, been going there long enough that there's certain bins for everything, and generally I get them all right. Made a mistake on one of those things, but I'll correct that. But the commercial collectors, aren't they obligated to make sure that the collections are separate?
Yes, and no. And that's basically depending on who pays for it. If it's just the trash hauler or the town. If it's, like Torrington has service, so Torrington would be billed if there was contamination found in a Torrington load. For Winsted, since Winsted doesn't have service, it's all individual contractors, the contractor is responsible. So basically what happens is the inspectors will search through the load if it's deemed contaminated. They'll attempt to try to find out where, a general area where it's from, and then they'll have the drivers, a few weeks back I emailed Candy some sheets from one of the companies that it'll have a list of what is and is not recyclable, and they'll leave it either on their trash container or their recycling container, or they'll leave it at their door. So in the short term, it's whoever is responsible for paying the bill as a company or a town. And then in the long run, if it's fined enough, they could pass that fee on to their customers.
But RRD1 sends out
Yes.
a flyer to every resident in town.
Yep.
Yes. And most of the other
And
companies do as
that
well.
goes to whether you're taking it down to the district itself
Yes.
individually, or you're having a commercial hauler.
Right.
So everybody should have that within our town, a flyer, as you call it, that says what's recyclable and where and how.
One of the problems with that is a lot of people just consider that junk mail and don't even bother looking at it. Which is, the biggest issue with recycling is the communications and education. And if it's hard getting to some people to communicate with them and educate them on recycling.
I think the other thing that is important for, anybody outside this room is that all of this affects our tax rate, because we pay for regional refuse. We all pay for it if we have it hauled at home. But the big thing is that Mira is having issues with their trash to energy plant at the tune of $330 million. So that plant will be offline soon, which means all our trash collections will have to be shipped out of state, and eventually out of state will stop taking them. So if we do not reduce our trash somehow, whether we recycle it or throw it out, if we don't reduce trash as not just a community, but state, nation, everywhere, we need to, make sure that it's sustainable, right? So, otherwise we're just gonna pay more and more, because they're projecting we're like at $80 a ton now, and there's projections of $120 a ton, which will add, I think, probably about $200,000 to our tax bill in Winsted for regional refuse.
Also, it's a thing about holidays too.
Yep.
So Debbie put out a message because a lot of people have their Memorial Day parties and they don't recycle. So they are being rejected and sent to weigh their trash. They're not recycling, and that's required by law. So they're now being sent to the trash area. So, and we also have at least 3 restaurants are still using styrofoam against our town ordinance.
And didn't we read the recycling is going up to 10 cents? The returnables?
Oh, and 50 cents for the little nippers.
No,
Yes, it's a little extra, it goes out, it's not a recyclable fee, but it's a
The
fee on the
returnables.
nippers for other things, to go back to the communities.
Nippers are never
To pick up,
recyclable.
right,
Right.
to pick up.
10%, 10 cents, from 5 to 10 cents.
I was
And that
thinking when I was little, wasn't it like 10 cents when we were young? I'm looking at this end of the table, you're too young, you two.
Nickel. I
Three.
can't remember 10 cents, but nickel.
For what?
I thought the recyclable, when I was younger, was like some bottles were worth 10 cents too. So it was back then too, so.
But now it includes teas. It's more extensive.
Well, like when you get, like, right now you buy Gatorade, some of them don't have 10 cents on it, but now they will.
Well, there was some well, I don't know if it was stupid, but it was, you could buy a can of beer and pay 5 cents, and you could buy a can of cider, alcoholic cider, and it's not, there's no deposit on it.
Now it is.
Now it will be, starting July.
Right.
That was foolish.
Well, hopefully the homeless will make money and, we won't have to pick up the nippers. It'd be nice if they had recycling in the liquor stores too. Well, they have that in Massachusetts.
So Todd, what else you got? A grade for us,
And we talked about recycling. Trash by the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection can be fined having over 10% recyclables in it. So you can't just throw your recyclables in the trash and be done with it. If it has more than 10% mixed in with the trash, the hauler or the town can once again be fined as well.
I have two things, if we're done with our quiz.
We're done.
Okay. June 19th, we have the food boxes coming again at Bank of America. So if anybody would like to help, we could use some help there, but we won't have another meeting before that. And then the second thing, just want to update all of you, is that our ordinances came through for phase 2. We have a meeting this Thursday with the small committee I have. So we'll be looking at those updates, but General Code compiled everything, and General Code has put out a lot of questions, something like 300 pages worth of questions on our ordinances. So they would like it back by October 22nd. So Josh knows about it. I've talked to Kevin Nelligan about how we will adopt them as that comes forward. But mostly it's gonna be a lot of work by department heads and then by Josh and by Kevin. So we're gonna have a meeting this week just to look at what they gave us, just to have a plan of attack and a schedule going forward. I've separated everything by department now, have everything set, so when we meet, we'll be able to start getting the process rolling. So just wanted to update everybody on that. Is there anybody else with any reports?
This isn't an announcement from the Soldiers Monument Commission, but on June 19th, Saturday, Juneteenth, there's supposed to be an event up at the Soldiers Monument from 10 to 12, just in commemoration of Juneteenth.
By the Republican Town Committee.
That is the Republican Town Committee. Are you familiar with what's going on? Other than they've asked for permission to use the monument grounds. I don't know what he's conducting.
I don't think there's any food or anything like that planned. I think it's just to acknowledge.
Speakers and,
Yeah.
yeah, I know that. Okay.
Anything else? Steve,
we adjourn.
second, please. Thank you, Melissa. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. See y'all on the 21st.